Start it now.
Okay, thank you. I'll wait.
Yeah, it is started and streaming.
Great, thank you. Okay, and Toby is coming in. Hi, Toby.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Toby.
Hi.
Hey, Toby.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. This is our regular PSB meeting, September 14th, 5:30. So we can get started. Roll call. Everyone is in attendance with the exception of Bill Unger, and he may join later. Is there any disclosure of interest this evening? Okay. Seeing none. Confirmation of agenda. Has everyone had a chance to look over any additions, any concerns? Okay, Bobby, do you have a resolution for that, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board approves the September 14th, 2021 agenda as presented.
Did I get a mover for that, please? Toby, seconder. Pete, thank you, and all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And moving on, adoption of the minutes. So we have the adoption of the minutes from June 8th, and July 5th and August 10th. Has anyone had a chance to go through any concerns with those? I had a look, I didn't see anything of concern. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that, please?
Yes. That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts the June 8th, July 5th, and August 10th, 2021 minutes as written.
Okay, and the mover for that? Jack? Seconder, Toby, and all in favor? Okay, and that's carried. Thank you. And so next is delegations. We have none this evening. We'll move on to unfinished business, the first being the Police Service Board policies. Nothing at this time. Do we need a resolution for unfinished business, Bobby?
No, that's okay through Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Okay, and is there any new business? I see none on the agenda, so we can move into reports. Chief, did you want me to share like I usually do, and then we can just go through them? I'm assuming it's probably easier because I don't think that everybody probably has two monitors to bring them up. So let me share those. And hopefully I can pull up the right screen this time. Nope. Okay, so I will just go up to the top and just let me get into. All right. Do you want to go ahead, Steve?
Yeah, okay. So through you, Madam Chair, with respect to the budget relative to policing, I'm just under 221. Really no concerns whatsoever after the summer months. I suspect moving forward with all the vacation pretty much finished up now, where the pressures of summer behind us, we should be in very good shape with respect to the budget. We are operating at 57%, which is well below the target that has been projected for the year and based on the monthly evaluation. So I have no concerns with respect to the police budget, unless anybody has any specific questions to any particular item. I'll move on to the PSB budget.
Any questions? I can't see hands, so please just go ahead.
Madam Chair, I have a quick question for the chief. Training was, it wasn't a high budget, but it was over a bit. Did some of the officers get a special course, or if you can scroll back to that one?
What line was that, Pete? Do you know?
Down a bit. Training, travel,
oh, yeah.
Where was it?
Right there.
Yeah, so the training is specific, or the expenditure that's a little bit on the high side with specific training is as a result of the provincial grant that we've got. And the salary dollars and also for the training itself is covered under that grant money that we received. And it's specific for child luring and internet sex offender or sex offenses type investigations. We have Constable Duckworth that has been fully trained. Actually, she will be working alongside of St. Thomas Police Service and their trained members on basically gathering digital evidence from laptops, computers, cell phones relative to any sex offenses related to child pornography or anything else. So that's where that expense is highlighted. But again, that's a full recovery from the grant that we received specific for that type of investigative excellence and technology that we need.
Okay, thanks for the update.
She is actually going on another course next week in Ottawa. Most of the courses that she's taken are in Ottawa, so and the courses obviously would be relatively expensive, but it's well worth to have somebody trained in that particular field. And based on the training already, there's been some pretty good results that we got as a result of her having that training. So it's,
Again, thank you.
It's working out very well.
Any other questions? Okay. All right. Did you have something else, or you want to move on to the police service board?
No, just moving on to the police services board budget. Okay. Again, no concerns there whatsoever. We're at 66%, which is right on target. I don't see any concerns in finishing at or near that target. And when combined between the two, I believe we're going to be in pretty good shape at the end of the year. I did just submit for the OPC secondment funding for the third quarter. So we'll be receiving a check for around $38,000 for the fact that Constable Fisher seconded there for another year, and that's a full cost recovery. So no issues with the budget.
Any questions on the PSB budget from members?
Okay, moving on to the Police Services Board quarterly report and statistics. What I did there is I kept up to date with June, July, and August. So instead of reporting individually on each of those months, I can do it as one report. Crime Stoppers, no issues there. We had 2 Crime Stopper tips in June, nothing in July and August. Officers did participate in the Crime Stoppers fundraiser in August, and I thank the board for supporting that initiative. And I did talk to Andre, and he said it was very well received, and they raised quite a bit of money there. So that's a good news story. DBI and high-risk meetings, I attended one in June. They canceled July and August just because people were on vacation, and we're up to 6 for the year, which is consistent with last year. Community events, again, because of COVID, not much participation with the officers on some of the community events. We had 3 in June, 2 in July, 0 in August, for a total of 10. And obviously, as you can tell, there's quite a bit of a discrepancy between 2020 and 2021 in terms of community events. Community patrol, foot patrol hours, excellent by the officers for the all 3 months. 27 incidents in June, 39 in July, 45 in August. So good participation by the officers. Quite a few hours have been accumulated. We're above target from last year when we were at 253. This year we're at 306 or 308. Also,
can I ask questions now, or do you want me to wait to the end of this particular section?
No, go ahead, sir.
Just looking at the log foot beat hours, certainly as a comment, very great that foot beat has been way up. I'm just curious, what is an incident?
So incident is every time the officer, we changed it a little bit this year. Instead of having an officer create an incident each time they go on beat, we create one incident for the month. And then what I do is I just add the numbers. And also on their daily activity report, they report the beat hours. So each time you're on a beat patrol, I score that as one incident.
Okay.
So the discrepancy between 45 and 42, some of the officers may only do half hour of beat patrol, and then they score it obviously as a half an hour, but it's one incident. So that's how that's captured.
Okay, thank you.
Really good news story here as far as the bike patrols. We have trained the officer in May that took over for Constable Sabol, or was an addition to Constable Sabol. And so far that officer has logged in 32 hours of bike patrols. He's very active with it. It's been well received in the community. And the total, when compared to last year, is, I mean, numbers speak for itself. We have 32 hours so far this year and 7 hours last year. The officer that we just hired from Halton, he's also bicycle trained, and we purchased the equipment that he needs to ride a bike, and he'll be a second officer who'll have access to the bicycle. So those numbers are going to continue to go up, which is good. We had one focused patrol for the month of August for a total of 2, and that pertained to school zone and return to school and safety in that area. So that was also a very good result once we looked at the warnings and also the charges. Officers did a really good job during that 1 week of warnings and then 1 week of full enforcement. Criminal charges.
Chief, while you're on that particular subject, I'd like to thank the officers for their focus on the school safety. The first couple of days were hectic around the schools, and the increased police presence certainly had a calming effect on that the startup for the new school season. So good work. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. And yeah, it is busy around there. I took a drive around today and yesterday around the school zones at the end of the school day, and it is very busy. So we're going to continue on with that initiative and certainly have our visibility there. Criminal charges, we have 6 adults who were charged, no youths. Total number of adults so far this year is 43, and actually we had 22 criminal code charges for the month of August, and certainly that kept the officers busy with those investigations. Obviously they're more time consuming. Some pretty high profile cases involving sex offenses and those kind of things. So lots of work and good work being done by the officers. Drug investigations, we had none in June, 4 in July, 1 in August, for a total of 10 so far this year with 9 charges. So no issues there. And again, majority of those are again cannabis readily available while operating a motor vehicle. Deputy Chief Novicic attended one of the CISO meetings for in the month of August for a total of 2 this year, and we'll continue on with that partnership. Lots of good information being exchanged there. 911's 26 calls for service in terms of OPP, public and ambulance assist, and 17 hang-ups. I did put out a media release in reference to the 911 hang-up calls and some of the things people can do to avoid those, and hopefully we'll see a reduction. But we are pretty high so far this year, and certainly that's something that the public needs to take a look at and look at some of the features on their phones to curb that misdial. Sexual assaults, we had 2 investigations that were done, and 5 have been cleared for the year for a total of 80% clearance rates, slightly higher than last year. Violent crime rates, we had 7 incidents, 5 have been solved in August, 5 incidents and 3 solved in July, and 7 in June, so all 7 solved. And our clearance rate, so far we had 45 incidents, 32 have been solved for a 71.1% clearance rate. SORs, MCMs, they're all captured based on the serious offenses against persons. 1 MCM and 1 SOR has been completed for the month of August. Property crime, we had 8 incidents, 2 have been cleared for a 25% rate. We actually had a pretty successful 3 months in terms of property crime and the solvability rates. For the month of June, for example, we had 6. 5 have been cleared by a charge for an 83.3% clearance rate. Month of July, we had 13 incidents, 4 were cleared for a 30.8% rate. And August, we had 8 incidents, 2 solved for a 25% clearance rate. Total for the year, we're at 28.4, which is 11% higher than last year in terms of clearance. So we're getting some really good success with clearing those property crimes. A lot of time we rely on video surveillance. Actually, we had a break and enter this morning at a local store, and we were able to solve that one by noon and had the male in custody and charged with break and enter. And that was all based on video surveillance. So lots of good work and utilization of technology to solve some of these crimes. Trouble with youth, we had 1 for a total of 11. Social media posts for July, our Facebook was down for some reason, so we had to sort of work around that issue and started back up in August. 26,000 views in June, 34,000 in August, for a total of 290,000 for the year. 58 posts, which is consistent with what we had last year. So lots of good feedback and lots of reporting on social media, which obviously informs the public of some of the events that are occurring within our service. Situation hub meetings, 5, 4, and 4 for June, July, and August for a total of 33. No situations. Unsolved follow-ups, 47 for June, 23 for July, 79 for August, for a total of 482 for the year. And provincial offenses and speeding, lots of good work being done by the officers in that area as well. If you look at the enforcement for June, July, and August, it's pretty high, even though we had quite a few officers obviously taking their time with the family and vacation. 790 charges so far for the traffic side of the house, 14 liquor, and 185 other charges. And also, in addition to that, as I indicated, for the month of August, we had 22 criminal code charges, which, again, some excellent work being done by the officers in pretty much all areas of enforcement. Ride checks, 10 in June, 21 in July, 10 in August. Again, good work being done there. Lots of vehicles being stopped, good PR being done, ensuring that the roadway safety is our priority as indicated in our business planning process. 5 alcohol standard tests were done on those that were stopped. And officers also issued 7 Highway Traffic Act charges during those stops as well. So they are looking beyond impaired driving and also beyond the license plate. For the month of August, we had 2 impaireds, 1 in July, 0 in August or June, for a total of 14 for the year. Reports, we had 1 taser displayed, not deployed, and that report has been submitted to Deputy Chief for his review. No issues there. Prisoners processed, again, 42 males, 10 females, 6 were held for bail or for court process, and 48 have been released. Training, we had 1 in-service training completed, and 606 hours for the year so far related to training expenditure. From the budget perspective, again, 3% below last year for the same time frame, and no issues there. For the entire month, we responded to 250 incidents, 10 related to traffic enforcement, 4 mental health, 4 motor vehicle collisions, 3 domestics, 6 OPP assists. From the platoon perspective, as I indicated, Constable Duckworth was busy with voyeurism investigation. There was a charge that was laid with respect to that one. Constable Long commenced commercial motor vehicle inspections. So far, he's laid several charges, so it's nice to see that expertise back after the retirement of Constable Lockwood, and he's done a great job. There's also 2 other officers that we sent for training at the level 1 category, and they're also working along Steve to gain that same knowledge that he has. So we have a lot of commercial motor vehicles that come through the community, so it's nice to see that expertise back here in Aylmer. Constable Wickerink investigated a sexual exploitation and sexual assault investigation involving a family member. As a result of that investigation, he laid 9 charges, which was all historical incidents. Myself and Nick worked several shifts during August to meet our needs based on vacation issues and other personnel issues. Kept on with regular meetings with partners regarding administrative and operational matters, and had some discussions about building needs as well to put that on the agenda and see how we can move forward with that aspect of things. And that's my report, Madam Chair. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions, concerns?
Okay, if not, violent crime. So far, we have 33 in comparison to 47. I suspect we're going to be right on target with what we had last year, so no issues there. Property crime, I'm happy about the report here. 69 incidents in comparison to 172 for the entire year last year. I suspect we'll be well below that 172, 178 target for the 2 previous years, and probably on target with, or maybe even slightly lower, what we've had in 2018. So again, that's a good news story. Drug investigations, nothing out of the ordinary there. We're pretty much on par with other years, probably going to be slightly lower than 2020 and 2019, more than likely on par with 2018. Domestic disputes, we're slightly higher there, and again, part of that has to do with the fact that we do have a fully trained officer who reviews all domestic incidents, and that knowledge and review of the reports ensures us the integrity of those reports and making sure that they're reported and scored properly. So no issues there. Looks like we will be slightly higher, but certainly not at 2019 levels, or perhaps even 2018 levels. Motor vehicle collisions, no issues. from 2017 or 2018 high of 174. We're only at 54 year to date. Certainly are going to be, by the looks of it, below target of or below 2020 numbers. Again, good work being done there with respect to traffic enforcement and making sure everybody behaves on the roadways. 911, I already talked about those. We are higher than last year already. Likely going to be close to the area of 2019, hopefully slightly below that, but hopefully with the messaging that's been put out, people will take some of that advice and hopefully reduce those numbers. Foot Patrol, good results there again, no issues. We're going to be very much on target with previous 3 years, so good work being done there despite the COVID issues. Mental health, again, with a worker present right now, we're able to do a lot of follow-up calls with those that are suffering from mental illness. And that's been working out very well. Nadine has been able to touch base and follow up with a lot of the people that we deal with in the community, and certainly that helps us out on the front line. And that's my report with respect to the charts, unless anybody has any questions.
Chief, I have a question, if I may, Madam Chair. Chief, you mentioned that you had a meeting regarding building matters. Do we have a long-range plan or expectations regarding the building itself? What it may need 5, 10, 15 years, whatever, out?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, that was part of our discussions, and we have identified what we would like to see as that need. Again, those discussions are preliminary in nature, and Heather has been involved with that as well in terms of budgeting for that and how that would take place with respect to setting aside funds to look at what the needs are, be it expansion here, and certainly we'll look at all the options, but perhaps the expansion would be the most fiscally responsible thing to do. But again, we'll have to hammer that out as we move forward with what's available and how we can meet that objective, stay fiscally responsible, and still attain that objective of satisfying our needs.
How are the bones of the building?
Well, I mean, from my perspective, the bones are really good. There's no issues there. Obviously, we need some upgrades. The big cost factor is the cell block area when you're constructing a police building, just because of the provincial standards that need to be met with respect to that. I mean, obviously, it needs some TLC. We've done a lot of work already with respect to modernizing in terms of camera systems, the security aspect of the building. We still have a little ways to go. Again, through the grant funding, we were able to secure one room that is called a soft interview room, where we interview victims of crime, and then just transitioning into a hard interview room, and also looking at some areas that we can sort of clear out and repurpose them for the use of interviews and breath room and those kind of things. So yeah, but the bones of the building itself, I think it's pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
My report with respect to monthly meetings, 4th and 11th, I had situation table teleconferences. Erica sat on the other two. 11th of August, I met with the interview from Toronto regarding Church of God issues and how that impacted the community and the policing. So they did a story on that for whatever reason. Management meeting on the 11th of August as well. And then I took some holidays mid-August till the end of August. I was on vacation. Budget, again, I talked about that. We're operating at 57%. If you look at the projected numbers, year to date, we really should be at 67. So we're operating at 10% below. So I see no reason why we're not going to meet the target at the end of the year. In fact, I'm pretty confident we will. And the media has been sent out regarding 911 false calls. Constable Long, hired as an experienced officer. He's doing excellent, very well engaged with the community. As I said, he's got all kinds of training that helps us on the front line in terms of traffic and commercial motor vehicle inspections. He's fits in very well with the other officers on the platoon. So that was a good hire, and Constable Irvine graduated with high marks from the college, and he's now with a coach. And first month report, I can tell you he's developing into a good officer, and no issues with him. I worked as a backup officer, sharing with Nick for 7 shifts due to shortages in the month of August, and as far as other direct operating expenses, we're pretty much on target to what we've had last year. Any questions with respect to my monthly activities? Seeing none. Also, the crime severity index is something that's put out each year to see how we fare with other communities that are our neighbors, or certainly close to our size. And again, I think it cut off a little bit there, so you can't really see which service is what in terms of these colors. But I'll just go down to the PDF file report below the charts. And basically what I did is I took the provincial averages, Aylmer Police, St. Thomas Police, Elgin OPP, Strathroy Caradoc, which is slightly larger than us, and Hanover, which is relatively the same size as us. So when you look at the crime severity index, the provincial average is 55.66. We're at 40.46, which is very low in comparison to other communities, certainly from the municipal perspective. And then you've got the OPP at 35.31. And again, they're going to be lower most of the time simply because of the fact that they don't have any dense populations, and certainly their crime rates are not as highly reported as what you would have in a municipal setting. Percent change for us, we have reduced that crime severity index by 10% over last year, which is a good news story. And again, when you look at other services, it's we're pretty much in pretty good shape there as far as crime reduction. The violent crime reduction severity index, we did the best there from the comparison that I put on there. Provincially at 69.45, we were only at 32.21. And then you look at all the others, and we had a really good year in terms of reducing the violent crime rates. And again, when you look at the percent change from last year, that's been reduced by 30%. Non-violent crime rate index, provincially 50%. We're at 43.32. Again, on target with Elgin OPP, and certainly much better than some of the other municipal partners that are used as a comparator, simply because they're neighbors. Any questions on that?
If I may, Madam Chair, I have a question through you. I asked, I wanted a question earlier, but I forgot I was on mute, so I was talking away and nobody seemed to be paying attention to me. So anyway, I have a question of Chief Swanko. You mentioned that the budget's at 57% this time of year rather than 67%. That's a drop of 10%. Is there something in particular that you can point to, or is there some kind of explanation for that kind of drop?
Well, again, we took a look at the needs for the overtime, and certainly by plugging myself and Nick into the mix, because as you know, like based on the officer's safety, we have to have 2 officers working at all times. So on day shift, what would happen is instead of calling in somebody on overtime, if we're down to 1 officer, either Nick and I will split the shifts. Like for example, today and yesterday, I worked 2 12s. Nick will work 2 12s tomorrow. He worked 2 8s, and then I work 2 8s. So that sort of gave us that advantage of being able to split the shifts and not need to have an officer come in for a 12-hour overtime shift, and that's where the reduction happened. And some of the other factors that are in there is obviously if you have an officer off on WSIB or long-term, those funds are covered by specific carriers of those plans. So that's a cost recovery to Aylmer. So bottom line is we just took a look at our needs and how we can be more efficient, and came up with the fact that if we reduce the need for overtime, that's certainly one area that can save you quite a bit of money.
Very good, thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay.
No, just in addition to that, so like anytime Nick and I work, so for example, if I work extra hours, I don't claim those as obviously overtime, and that's just basically balanced out at the end of the month to reflect, and he's the same way. So based on the contractual agreement for me and him, neither one of us claims overtime per se at time and a half. Certainly the hours that are extra worked, we try to take that throughout the month as time off, but certainly it doesn't cost the service anything for those additional hours, or they're not at time and a half rate.
Good. Okay.
Okay. And that's my report, Madam Chair.
All right. Any further questions? It's hard to see hands, so if there's any questions and you were speaking and on mute, then yeah, I would have missed you. So any questions further? Okay. All right. So can we have a resolution for reports A to F, please, Bobby?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts report items A to H of the September 14th, 2021 agenda.
All right. And can I have someone to move that? You'll have to say your name.
Pete.
Okay, and seconder?
Bill.
Thank you. And all in favor, say nay or yes if there's an issue.
Yes.
Yes.
We're good? Okay. I can't see you, so you're going to have to speak. Thank you. All right, and that is carried. Thank you. All right, and so moving along to incoming correspondence. So there's just 2 items. Did someone have something? I'm just hearing something, so I wasn't sure. Okay. So we just have 2 items. So the first one is from the OAPSB Executive Director, and this is announcing that Fred Kostanen is leaving. He's retiring from the position, and the new replacement is Bruce Chapman. So we can move along. And the next item is regarding draft regulations, and these are OAPSB response draft regulations, and they're based on comments pertaining to active attacker incidents, proposed regulations, alternative provisions of policing functions, and code of conduct for police service board members, Ontario Police Arbitration and Adjudication Commission proposed regulations. So the details are below. Was there any questions? Not that I can answer, but I'm not even sure if Chief can, but there were details below. So anything on that? Any comments? Okay, seeing none. Bobby, do you have a resolution for incoming correspondence, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts correspondence items A and B of the September 14th, 2021 agenda.
Okay, and I need a mover for that, please.
Moved by Bill.
And a seconder. Jack, thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And that is carried. Okay, so I'm no longer sharing, so I can see everybody now. All right, so our next item is moving into closed session. Bobby, do you have a resolution, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board is now adjourned to closed session at 6:10 p.m. for personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees.
Okay, someone to move that?
Bill.
Toby and seconder, Bill?
Bill.
All in favor?
Yes.
And that's carried. Okay. We'll just give, and